So is it in IR?
And really beating up these pool noodles.
What's that?
So really beating up these pool noodles.
This is insulation. So when you're insulating your pipes, you go and you buy this. It's not sealed. It has like a little pulley thing here with some glue. You put it on your pipes. All right. So guys, let's just go over first. You get it's 100 points possible, 9 points for showing up, 7 points for each of the 13 steps. You have 1 minute to assemble your equipment, but basically I only brought the equipment you need, so that's going to be really easy. There is one extra one of these, which hopefully we won't have to get to because a lot of equipment is in short supply, but if we need it, we'll have it. All right. So this is your inguinal crease and femoral vein. That's what this is going to be. Okay. Antiseptic is this. Okay. Sterile fenestrated drape is this. You can't see the fenestration yet, right? What's a fenestration?
Window.
What's the Italian word for window?
Fenestro.
Nice. Fenestra. Maybe masculine is O, I don't know. Okay. All right. Your anesthetic syringe is this. Do not take the safety cap off.
For the love of God.
I'm serious. It's part of the rubric. If you take the safety cap off, you lose points. Don't take the safety cap off. Okay? All right. Wire needle. I don't know what the official names of these things are. I call this the wire needle. Okay? All right. So this is the wire needle, which you'll understand in a second. Wire needle on syringe barrel. Okay, and you'll see where this comes into play. We're definitely going to do some. So I've been doing this now. This is my 7th year, and I've now had to, since being here with you crazy goons, I've had to adjust my protocols to the slow single-handed coverage method. Okay, all right. This is the wire needle. Okay, what's next? The wire. This is the actual wire. There's a wire in here. Okay. Scalpel. My God, if this could be done without a scalpel, we would do it without a scalpel, but we can't. Okay. Dilator with catheter. So this is interesting, right? So this is a real one. This is what we use in the ER. This is the dilator. This is the catheter that goes in the vein. You can put like 2 liters of fluid in 1 minute through this catheter. Okay. And then the Aero Silk suture. Once you get a central line in, you don't want it to fall out, so you literally sew it in place. And that's what this is for. Okay? All right. So let's kind of go through this now. So what's our first step? Sterile patient preparation. Okay? So that's just going to be literally doing this. Show me that you know that you have to prep the area that you're going to place your line in. Okay. Locate the femoral vein. Okay. So this is the thing. You can't see the femoral vein and you can't feel the femoral vein. So as part of this rubric, I need to hear you say the femoral vein is medial to the femoral artery. Because in real life, so if I'm laying on the gurney, okay, and I would work from this side because I'm right-handed, I would palpate the inguinal crease until I could feel the pulsation of the femoral artery. And then I would go 1 centimeter medial because that's where the vein is going to be. That's how it's done. You can't see or feel the vein, so you have to use a landmark that you can, which is the artery, which is right next to it. Arteries are always right next to the accompanying vein. The femoral vein is next to the femoral artery. The brachial vein is next to the brachial artery. Okay? I was going to say the jugular, but that's a weird one. The carotid and the jugular have different names, but they are right near each other. So anyway, so that's part of it. You have to state that. The femoral vein is medial to the femoral artery. That's showing me you know how to find your landmark, okay? Anesthetize the insertion site. So you're just going to do this. You can do it once, twice, 3 times. Don't do it more than 3 times, okay? And don't take the cap off. It's in the rubric, okay? All right. Then you enter the femoral vein with the wire needle. Okay, so now I'm just going to tell you guys a couple things about real life. So this is obviously a long and sharp needle and everything, right? The most common mistake in real life, which will not be relevant in this probably, is putting this on too hard. You need to put it on enough that you have a vacuum seal, okay? But what you're going to find is ultimately the tip of this needle is going to be in the vessel that you want to put the wire in. And it's not as big as this, okay? So once you have that in there, you have to take this off. And what happens is, kind of novice, newbie mistake, is you put this on really tight. Now you've got the tip of this needle in like a 3 or 4 millimeter vessel, and you got to fight to get this thing off. And by the time you get it off, the tip of the needle's not in the vessel anymore, okay? So I'm just telling you, that's a real life thing, is not putting this on too hard, okay? And so what you actually do is you've got your landmark, and I'm going to ask you guys too, because of this tube, and because all of these kits are made for single use, one use, right? But we're going to use this 24 times plus just in this class, okay? And so to keep this from getting any more bent than it is, I want you guys to use somewhat of an acute angle putting this in so the wire just goes out and doesn't keep bashing into the end of the fiberglass. This is not something that would happen in real life, but just so that we don't lose. That's why this is the only other one I have left. So if we get to, because to get one of these, you have to have the whole kit. you know what I mean? So, okay.
You wanted us to put the drape on before we did that,
Oh,
right?
did I miss a step?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay. Well, thanks for noticing, Bailey.
I think, yeah, you cleaned it and then put the drape on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Huh?
Okay.
No. You're bringing back nightmares of residency. Put the drape on! Okay. Okay.
Just for my sake, not yours, I didn't want to get confused.
No, you're right. I'm glad you clarified that. Okay. And so again, now here's how it happens in real life. Okay. So you put this on, not too hard, but enough to have a vacuum seal. You've anesthetized the skin. Now you're going to puncture the skin. So once the tip of the needle is in the skin, if you pull back, this is a piece of fiberglass, so it's not necessarily as good, you're going to get resistance in a person. There's no air in there. And you're not in a vessel, so you're not just going to pull fluid back. So it's going to be, you're going to kind of put some tension on this, pulling back on the barrel as you advance the needle, and when the needle hits the vein, the barrel fills with venous blood. Right? That makes perfect sense? Mm-hmm. That's telling you that the tip of your needle is in the vein. That's where you stop and remove the barrel. Okay? Because you know the tip of your needle is in the vein, and that's why where you don't want that thing to be on too tight. Now you're going to take this, which has a little thumb advancing part on it, stick it in the end here, and advance your wire through the needle. All right? So now the wire, where is the wire?
In the vein.
The wire's in the vein. Okay? So you take this guard off. The wire's in the vein. So let's get this needle out of there that is just going to keep lacerating things, which we don't want to happen. This procedure is essentially done. That's the hard part. Once the wire's in the vessel, the rest of it's pretty easy. You know, and I'm just talking about in real life. You know, you're all cringy until you get the wire in. Now you've got access to the vessel. Okay? All right. So remove the syringe barrel, insert the wire, remove the needle, leaving the wire in place. Okay, then it says slowly cap the needle with the one-hand method, and I want to see you go slow. Okay? So you're going to take this thing, you know, take this thing with one hand, put it in there, cap it. Then you use the scalpel to widen the insertion site. Again, be very careful. Okay, take the cap off. Okay. This is important too, in both real life and in not like destroying the model here. Well, this isn't a model, this is a real kit. Okay. So you have this wire, and you're going to be putting all of this through the wire. But you only have a hole as big as the wire, so you need to make the hole bigger. Okay, and literally what you do is you put the blade up of your scalpel and you touch the wire. You actually make physical contact with the wire, and then you don't saw, you do one stab, and you pull back. And that widens the opening. Okay, same thing, one-handed safety method with the scalpel. All right? Then you're going to advance. So this dilator is going to create a path for this larger catheter, which is blunt-ended, so fluid can go through it. So this would not just go right through the body. So you have this thing that's the dilator. That's going to actually create the path as it goes in. The hard part is getting these together. Okay. You're going to advance until the wire is coming out the back of the dilator. That's really important because ultimately you need to have control of that wire so the wire does not end up staying inside the patient. Seriously, that's real, okay? All right, so you back it up until your wire is out the back, and now you're gonna have a little bit of tension when you get your dilator to the opening, and with rotation, you advance in one motion. That's, okay, that's how it's done, all right? Then you remove the dilator and the wire at the same time. The blue dilator and the wire. So now all you have inside the patient is this gigantic catheter. And then you sew it into place with this. That's how you do that. The nurses will be connecting whatever you're putting into the patient to the end of this, and that's a central line. You can do it in different places. You can do it to the internal jugular, subclavian. Typically in traumas and emergency situations, we're putting them in down here because up here is airway management, CPR, all kinds of other stuff is happening up here. But the inguinal crease is relatively dirty, okay? So once the patient gets to the ICU, the intensivist puts one up here and takes this one out. That's typically what happens.
With everybody.
That's it.